Miss Angelina. It's nice to see you today.
Yes,
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Okay, well, if you want to start off by telling me some things about you.
Well, I'm a student and I'm a grandmama and I um I enjoy school. I've I decided to go back after I had an injury at work, and so I have to retrain myself to do something different.
Okay. Can I ask what school you go to and what you going to school for?
Yes, I go to Pitt Community College and I go for gerontology.
Okay. Well, that's some good information. Thank you for giving me that. So, I would like to get some more background information from you. As far as your earliest memory of your childhood, what was that like for you?
Oh wow, I have several. I remember, I guess I was about 4 or 5, and I remember meeting my dad for the first time, and he brought me a guitar, a little small guitar. I never forget that.
Mm-hmm.
And then my second memory is when my mom gave me my first doll baby. I remember that. It was a little black doll baby with curly hair, lots of hair. And let's see, I have my mom again. I remember her teaching me my first dance. That was awesome. It was a simple dance. It was side to side, and then you roll your hands. It
Oh,
was real cute. I never forget it.
that's a good memory. Very interesting. Okay. So, Miss Angelina, to you, have you ever felt like you was understood by any friends or any family members? Did they have that connection with you?
I would say no because it seemed like most of the time nobody actually took the time to talk to me. Um, it seemed like every time I turned around, I was getting fussed at because I was constantly into something. And I guess I was that way because I wanted some attention and always ended up getting the wrong type of attention. So, no, I really don't think they understood me.
Okay. So, as far as the attention goes, why do you think they didn't give you the proper attention you wanted to? Was it other reasons or?
I think that, well, I was raised up in a house with my cousins, and it was like, I think it was like five of them. And you had like three of them that were in high school at the time. Might have been two of them was in high school at the time, and one that had already come out and he was in the service, I think, and the other one was off in Job Corps. So it was like I was an add-on. Um, I just think that the mother had a lot of things going on inside of her, and it wasn't a lot of times when she could pay a whole lot of attention to me. Now, I mean, she was nice to me sometimes, and other times I just thought she was really mean.
Okay. That does happen sometimes with families, unfortunately. So, from your point of view, or if from other people, do you think that you would consider yourself as not being perfect, or do you consider yourself perfect, or if you could change yourself to be perfect, how would that go about?
Well, I definitely don't consider myself perfect, and I really wouldn't want to be perfect, but um, to be just right, um, as far as society sees you, I think I'm there. Now, I have issues just like anybody else has issues, and I think from just being out in the community, you wouldn't be able to tell that I have issues. So to me, I think that I've come a long ways in conquering a lot of things. So to me, I think I'm pretty much good. I'm not perfect, no, by no means necessary, but I'm as good as I can get. But I'm still building myself and learning and going into different areas of bettering myself.
That's a good way to look at it. Very well. Okay, so I would like to know, um, growing up in the household with the other kids, did you ever feel like you had to be better than them? Was there ever a competition between you and the other children?
Well, wasn't so much I wanted to be better than them, but I wanted to be loved. There wasn't a lot of hugs and kisses and all of that. I just, I mean, they were older than me, and I mean, like I said, I was the baby in the house. So the only time I thought that love came was when I got a whipping, or I was getting fussed at. I'm like, I'm getting attention. But it would have been nice to get some extra hugs and kisses along the way, and just to be told every now and then I love you.
So, with the other children being older than you, did they not show you any attention? I mean, if I know sometimes when you have other siblings or you even raised with other family members, sometimes they get a connection, and the other siblings would show that child attention. Did you ever experience that with them?
Well, sometimes I got negative attention. Yeah. Um, but I did connect with the youngest girl and the one that was next to the youngest.
Mm-hmm.
I connected with her. But I think I really connected with the one that was the, let me see, she was the next to the youngest, like I said before. And I connected more with her because it seemed like she was a black sheep of the family. She
Mm-hmm.
just didn't fit in. Um, there were some things that went on in the family that just put her, it was like she was never good enough for
Mm-hmm.
anything, and her mom put her down, and her self-esteem was really low. And I connected with her. She was a good person. She would talk to me, and I remember nights she would come in the room and talk to me until I fell asleep. I used to love for her to come in the room and talk to me until I fell asleep. But I mean, I that was a good connection with me and her. And she's dead and gone now, but I sure miss her. She was my sweetheart. She was a lovely person.
I'm sorry to hear that. Um, she sounds like a lovely person. So I want to kind of go back to a previous question I asked
Hmm.
as far as being perfect. Being that you said that, her mother put, talked down about her and she was like the black sheep, did they see the other children, the other boys as being perfect, or that wasn't even a category? It was just um, she's not this and he's that, or
Well, I never saw or heard her really put the boys down.
mm-hmm.
I think she was a little hard on the girls because she wanted them to be something, and in her eyes, she just saw that the middle child that I connected with, she just, I guess she didn't, well, just to put it out there, some things happened
Mm-hmm.
in the house. And, when I was coming up, what happens in the house stays in the house. So I think with some things happening, it brought out some negative vibes between her and her mom.
Mm-hmm.
and they never got along ever again.
Okay.
And she really didn't have anything nice to say to her, or when she did, it was every now and then,
Oh,
but it didn't last long.
oh, okay. So, my next question is, your childhood or your previous experiences. How was your lifestyle like, and how has it altered your lifestyle today?
Well, being raised in an environment where I felt like I was just ignored and not loved and whatever, it took me a good little while to figure out that what love was.
Right.
And when you go through that phase of trying to figure out what love is, you tend to bump into the wrong type of relationships
Mm-hmm.
because you don't know who you can trust, or who's got your best interest at heart. And it just makes life kind of tough. But I'm grateful that as I grew, I learned these things along the way. And as I was learning these things, I was able to use them
Mm-hmm.
to the point where it just made me wiser. So I knew who to talk to, how to talk to, and who had my best interest and who did not. So, I mean, life journey was kind of tough, but I mean, I wouldn't be the person I am if I didn't go through these changes.
Right. Yeah, we all go through those sometimes, but it's just even a better victory when you come out better on top. So that's really good. Um, can I ask, are you involved with your community, and as far as um, society? How, what's your experience with that, and how has it affected you?
Well, when I was working, I was, um, I enjoyed working with people.
Mm-hmm.
My two favorite jobs are retail and home health. In retail, you meet many different types of people, young, old, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Home health, I enjoyed working with the elderly because there's lots to learn, and the what you offer, what you take to the houses when you go and you visit them and you do whatever they need you to do, it makes them, they're grateful. I
Mm-hmm.
met a lot of them that were really grateful for the little stuff that I did, and that made it so that I made a difference in their day. It was either the conversation, it might have been the way I helped them put their clothes on, it might be the way I gave them their bath, it might be the way I massaged the feet, but I made a difference, in their day for that day, and they look forward to me coming back the next day. Now, the things that I have done in the community that I wasn't getting paid for, I volunteered at Council on Aging. And I think it's very rewarding when you can do something, take time out of your day and do something that makes a difference in somebody else's day. So when I go to these houses and I take these meals, and I don't know if it's their first meal of the day or if it's their last meal of the day, but they were very grateful. I had this one little man, he would always hold a little conversation with me. He'd be like, you know what? I sure thank you for coming by and bringing me this meal. Some folks don't have nothing, and I'm grateful for this. And I'd be like, oh, wow. He was just so kind. And then there was another one. One day I went to her house, and I knocked on the door, and she didn't come to the door. So something said, call her. So I went back to the car and I called her, and she came to the door and she said, "Baby, bless your heart." She said, "I'm so glad you decided to call me." She said, "'Cause I'll be way back there in the back of the house." So, and she said, "Come here, turn around." And I turned around and she said, "No, no, no, turn the other way." And she said, I was like, "Oh my goodness, you give me some sugar." So she was very grateful that I had actually took the time to make sure she got her meal. And it made me feel good too. It just warms my heart to know that they need, and I'm the one who can give them a peace of mind at the end of the day. So I really enjoyed that.
I love that. That's beautiful. I want to add on a question to that.
Hmm.
Your giving and your helping out in the community, does that have anything to do to your experience in childhood, as far as not getting attention, as far as not having someone there for you the way you would want them there? Did that affect anything for you to be there for other people who didn't have anybody?
I think it did because when I was younger, when I was a young girl in school, I used to think I had to give people things to be friends with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that as I got up some age, I realized that no, you don't have to do that. Just be yourself and be kind. That's giving enough. And I saw my cousin's mother. She was a home health aide. And I think with her helping people, that influenced me to want to help people.
It doesn't seem like you're doing a good job in your community, so I'm pretty sure they're very appreciative of that. So kudos. um, Let me also ask. Um, you're the baby of the family,
Yes.
and you already kind of explained how that situation was. Did you have any advantages that they didn't have as being the baby?
Hmm. Advantages. Hmm. Uh, excuse me. Oh my.
It's okay.
Um. Let's see. What advantages would I've had? The only advantage of being the baby is sometimes you no, not advantages, maybe disadvantages.
Okay, you see more of the
Um, when you're a
disadvantage.
baby, you get hand-me-downs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when I went to school, I always wanted what the other kids had,
Mm-hmm.
and I would get something similar to what the other kids had. And I used to think, wow, really, I would really like to go stay with them
Mm-hmm.
because they have, this, that, and the other. But the lesson that I truly learned in it was as long as you smell good, look good, and you're clean, it doesn't matter what you have on. It really doesn't. Because some people didn't have as good as stuff that I had. But at that time, I couldn't see that. I learned that later in life. You have to be grateful for what you do have sometimes until you can do better.
Right.
So I learned to be grateful for whatever I get. I love when people give me stuff. And I tell people when it comes to birthdays and stuff like that, don't worry about no price. It's all in the thought
Right.
process. It's all about you took the time to think about me and what you thought I liked. But don't worry about what I like. Just know I like stuff, honey. I like free stuff. I really do.
Okay. And as well, was there ever a time where you wanted to switch positions, where you didn't want to be the baby no more? Maybe wanted to be the oldest
Hmm.
sometimes?
Oh, wow. I think I always wanted to be older than what I was. I was in
Mm.
a hurry. But, honey, if I could turn back the clock, I think I'd rather be the baby some more. I mean, those responsibilities are rough.
Right.
But, I mean, I only wanted to be older because I thought I was missing something.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth of the matter was, I wasn't really missing anything. It just looked that way at the time. it seemed like they were getting away with, they could do whatever they wanted to do. I had to stay in the yard. They could go places. I had to stay home. So, I mean, when it came to that, yeah, they had more freedom than I had. I always had to, I wanted to play in the front yard. She sent me to the backyard. So, I mean, but it was for my own safety as far as being in the front and the backyard because cars came and we stayed like where the highway would go.
Right.
And the houses, and she didn't want me to run out in the street and get hurt, but there was nothing to see in the backyard. So I wanted to be in the front yard.
Right.
So I constantly got yelled at about that. But that was basically it. They had more freedom. That was the only thing. And I felt like if I was older, I could go too.
Okay. So let's talk about encouragement and motivation. Did you have that growing up? And if you did, who or what gave you that encouragement or motivation?
Well, I had this second grade teacher who was very much a big influence on my life. She was a helper. I mean, she showed me that I was smarter than what I may have acted or how I may have showed. I mean, because I was constantly, like I said, I was a busybody. I was constantly into something. But she sat me down and she showed me some things, how to do my work and how to focus and all that good stuff. And that made me feel like her just taking out the time to show me meant a lot to me. And there was a second one of encouragement. There was a lady in my life that was a social worker. And I always thought I was an ugly little thing because they always called me ugly because I was dark. And at that time, bright skin was in. Bright or white. That's what it was. And so she told me, she said, you know what? She said, it's not about how you look, honey. She said, pretty is as pretty does. She said, if you act pretty, you are pretty. You act ugly, you ugly. She said, you can be the prettiest thing out there, but if you got a nasty disposition, you just as ugly as all outdoors. So if you keep that in mind and act pretty, you ain't got to worry about being pretty.
And did you take that advice and
I
did
did.
it work for you?
I did. As I got older, I realized what she was saying because I was mean and I was hateful at one time. I really was, and I guess that was because of the way I got treated. But as I got older, I realized that you don't keep friends like that. And people don't like mouthy and disrespectful people. Children, I know I don't. I had to learn that. And once I learned that, I changed a whole lot. I learned how to keep certain things to myself. When to speak on things, when not to speak on things. How to, when somebody approached me, how not to get so upset so quick about what they were saying. You had to listen. And those are the things. I had to humble myself because I was headed down a road of nothing but, I think, loneliness. Because when you're hateful and mean and people don't understand why you're going through all of that, you push them away. And I just thank God that I was able to figure it out. And I think the church had a lot to do with that. When you have a spiritual background or a foundation, you can work through all things.
Definitely do believe that. Okay. So I want to ask, you talked about trust issues. It started from a young age. Do you still have trust issues to today?
I do. Sometimes I take people at face value and I give you the benefit of the doubt. I try to see good in everybody. But if you do something that just discourages that good thought, then, yeah, I have problems. I have, but I give you a chance to redeem yourself. I really do. But I look at you a little different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, after I done put you on a pedestal and you just knocked it off. I mean, you just pushed yourself off the pedestal. But not saying that I wanted you to be perfect, but it's certain things that you don't do. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to lie necessarily. You don't take. You know, you ask. Um, I mean, I just believe that a person should be truthful. You
Right.
know, I mean, you don't really have a reason to lie.
Mm-hmm.
Just be truthful and see what your outcome get. I mean, I think you get a better outcome when you're truthful than when you lie because you have to keep that lie up
Right.
and eventually get caught in it anyway. So I mean,
Right. I definitely do agree with that. Um, Trust is a good thing to have. Your type of trust, I do not see as a bad type of trust. As you were saying, you give an open opportunity to these people or whoever, and when they disappoint you or violate that trust, it's understandable that you bring that trust down. And so at least you're not just going off, I don't trust you, and you haven't even gave the person a chance. You give them a chance. So I definitely commend you for that. So lastly, I would like to know, if you can do it all over again, why would you do it all over again, and how would you do it all again in that concept?
um, as far as childhood to adulthood,
Yes.
wow. I don't know if I would do it all over again because I don't think I would change anything because I think I went through the things I went through because God wanted me to be in a certain place and he's kept me all these years and he wanted me to learn things about people and how life will go. So I mean, no, I really don't think I would change anything. I thank God for all that he showed me
Mm-hmm.
and all that he will show me. And I thank him for just keeping me so that I could be aware and he keeps me focused, and I just, I mean, I think I'm grateful. I didn't used to be grateful. No, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, no. I really didn't. I would wake up on my birthdays and every year I would age, I would get depressed. And then one day I woke up on my birthday and I was sad and a little voice said, you know, you're so stupid. You sitting up here sad and depressed because you turned a year older. Don't you know somebody didn't wake up this morning? Somebody don't have their health and strength today, but you do. So after that, I learned to be grateful for every day and every little thing around me, even the birds chirping. I feel like when the birds are chirping, they praising the Lord, and so should I.
Right. Well, Miss Angelina, my view on our conversation today, I definitely feel that you are self-aware of your changes, and from your past to today. Everybody's a working process,
Mm.
and you definitely are working to get there. We Nobody is ever perfect, um, and you even agree to that. But it's not about being perfect. It's about being true to who you are, true to yourself, and living life accordingly. And with your previous experiences, it helped shape and mold the person who you are today. And that is absolutely amazing. I think you have the ability to go out here and reach out to other people, make a difference in other people's life. And God is, I don't want to get too religious, being that we were just talking, we have a council session. But if you believe God put you in a place where you need to be today, then He put you in a great place. And I just want to say thank you for coming in. Do you have any questions for me, or any concern that you would like to go over or talk about besides what we talked about today?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. It's nice meeting you.
You too.